In the last movie, we took a look at Ruby Gems, the package manager for Ruby libraries. Now that we have Ruby Gems installed, we'll make it really simple for us to install Ruby on Rails, because Ruby on Rails is a gem. Let's go to the command line and see how. So we'll just want to open up our command prompt if you don't already have one open. And from here, as we saw, we could see gem list, and it'll show us the gems that are currently installed. In order to install Rails, we just say gem install Rails. It's that easy. This will then go out on the internet to that Ruby Gems website that we were looking at and look for a gem called Rails. It will then find out all the pieces that Rails needs to be able to work. It may have other gems that it depends on, and it'll bring all of those back and install them for us. It'll do everything we need automatically. Now at this point, it actually has installed those gems. You see it says successfully installed. Then it goes through and it builds some documentation for each one of those. That process may take 4 or 5 minutes, so you may want to walk away and just come back in a few minutes when it's done building those. Okay, now it's done installing. Let's check to make sure that it's there. Gem list. So we'll see now there's a lot more gems installed, all those things that Rails needed to work. We can see there's Rails 3.0, but there's also all these parts of Rails up here, Action Mailer 3.0, Action Pack 3.0. We'll talk about those later, but these are all gems that are needed by Rails. Now, in addition to installing the gem, it also installed a small command line program, which is called Rails, that we'll be using. So Rails is the library of Ruby code that can power our application, but it's also a small little program from the command line that helps us to interface with that library of Ruby code from the command line. So we can type Rails-V, just like we did gem-v and ruby-v, and the command line will tell us what version of Rails we currently have installed. If we have multiple versions installed, because it is possible to install several versions, it'll tell us what the default one will be. Now we have Rails installed and we're ready to use it, and now we need to move on to making sure that we have a database that we can use.